All right.
Hey, everybody. Hello, Barbara. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Raylene.
So formal. I truly have not had enough coffee today. And I've been dealing with our little, hey, everybody, I'm Raylene, by the way, and that's Barbara. So
Yeah.
we never tell people who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, and we're the owners of Tribe Leadership Consulting, and we're here today to dazzle your ears and your mind with whatever the topic is. But I wanted to tell you about my little dog. So I have a tiny little dog, Ripley, and she went and got some shots and she had a reaction to them. And so she ended up having to go back and get antibiotics and stuff. But now you might hear her, she snarfles and snores like she's somehow just not like perking back up yet. And so you may hear her snoring. She's feeling a lot better, but yeah, just
Okay.
one of those mornings where you're like, is the dog okay? Why is she making that noise?
Well, if you suddenly need to tend to a dog emergency, I can finish the live myself. I just can't press and record. That's all.
Well, and I think, well, we'll just record forever. No, I think she's totally fine. I just, every once in a while, she lets out this kind of like piggy snort, which is kind of weird.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll know what it is at least.
That's right. It's not me.
Okay.
It's the dog.
Right. Good that you clarify that in advance.
Yeah. How are things for you?
Things are really good. Things are so busy but such good busy, and it just feels good when you're doing the things that you've been working hard to set yourself up to do that really align with, with the forward piece and with who you are and all that stuff. So I feel really good, but I have a few things to say about our topic today. Which is about faking it till you make it. Fake it till you make it.
Isn't that what we're doing right now?
Right. Yeah, no, we're just having fun right now. Yeah, no, I have a few things to say about that, which I'm kind of busting to say. And I was gonna, except that we had, said we'd be doing this live at 9:15. I would have said to you, can we just do this earlier? Because I really got to get some stuff off my chest around this topic.
Well, today it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
Get it off your chest. So our topic is faking it till you make it. Is that a real thing? Is that positive, negative? There's lots of controversy around that topic.
Yeah, and I'm firmly in the belief that if you take that the right way and what it is meant to mean, that it's a super effective strategy to build your confidence.
Okay.
So, and I think we've all kind of been there where at some point in our careers, we kind of said, yes, boss, or yes, person, I can do this. Yep. Where in the back of your mind, like, holy crap, like, I'm not sure if I really get all the pieces, but I've committed to it. I've said yes. It's out of my comfort zone, and it's not something I'm, maybe super experienced with. But I get a sense that, if I just pull in some info and get some advice and some mentorship around it in the meantime, I can pull this off. We've all kind of been there, right? Where we've done that. And I mean, I can think of a lot of points along my career where I said yes to something. I mean, within reason, not something that's completely outside.
Yeah, you're not
of my
performing
universe.
brain surgery.
Yeah. No,
sure, I can do that. I watched a show.
Not like that guy. So, do not take as an example the Catch Me If You Can guy who faked being a airplane pilot and all these things. It was based on a real guy who faked being
or
a
on
surgeon.
on the show Heat with Sandra Bullock, and she performs a tracheotomy in Denny's or something because she saw it on. She watched a documentary about it and was sure she could handle it.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about that stuff, but we're talking about committing to something a little outside of your comfort zone where, yes, I could do this, but it's going to take some work in the background. And that's kind of the faking it till you make it, because then once you've tried it once, something that's new, then you build the confidence by doing that. And anyway, shut me up because I will speak for this entire live, but you read about the controversy a lot, and people say, well, I faked being a person I just wasn't, and I was pretending to be, say a woman. She was writing, I think it was in a blog or something I read, I was in engineering faculty as a woman, and I was just had to fake being sort of like a guy to sort of fit in, but it didn't work, and it was disastrous, and it wasn't who I really was, and all that. And the idea of faking it till you make it is not being authentic, is not being inauthentic about who you are. It's about, consciously saying to yourself, who do I want to become, or what things do I want to, achieve, and then working toward that because you really want to make change. So if that woman didn't want to become a man like the others there with all their whatever it was
Yeah.
going on in her past, well then that wasn't faking it till you make it. She was just trying to be someone she wasn't.
Well, and that brings up a good point where it's still within the spectrum of who you are and what you're maybe somewhat capable of and or like have experience in and your interests, right? Because somebody could throw something at me that I might not have done, but if it falls into serving people, it
Right.
falls into training in emotional intelligence type spaces, even if it's not an area I've, and with enough time, I could I could do it. And Richard Branson talks about that, right? He
Hmm.
talks about say yes, a good opportunity comes along, say yes, and then figure out how to do it. And this
Hmm.
is where I think people get really tripped up is you don't do that alone. You don't do that alone. You then go to, if I get called to do something that I'm not sure of and I say yes, I'm probably calling Barbara, right? To say, okay, let's, because we have very different skill sets, but it's all falling within the same, under the same umbrella of what we both are good at, enjoy, are interested in, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it wouldn't, if somebody called me and said I want you to be my accountant, well, I'd never say yes to that
Yeah.
because technically my brain could probably figure it out and handle it. I would hate it. It wouldn't be in my spectrum of skills or interests or whatever.
Yeah, is
So
that
I
the
like this
change you really
idea of,
want, right? Yeah.
yeah, well, and we see this, this is a hot topic, right? Because we see this in our, because we do a lot of coaching with other coaches, right? So and we often see, and I do tell people this too, you find somebody or some people that you really respect out in the industry that you're trying to break into, and you look at what they've done, and I'm not the only one to say that, lots of people give that advice, right?
Yeah.
Look at what they've done and see what do you need to do to sort of get there, because why would you forge a new path if someone that you respect has already forged that path, then learn what they do. But the problem is that we, the mixed message, and I think this is what you were speaking to, is we think we need to personify who they are,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
just learning
Exactly.
the tactile steps,
Yeah. No,
or
it's about
feel,
you. It's about you, right? It's the
yeah,
change that in the person you want to become, or in the things that you want to do to fulfill yourself, and not trying to be someone else.
yeah,
And furthermore, I would like to add that it's not. And you read this also in the stuff that talks about, oh, how faking it till you make it is the worst thing you could ever do. It'll always fall flat. And you'll see people referencing examples where they tried to fake confidence, but we're not talking about faking confidence. We're talking about taking on something, that's new and different for you. It's unreal for you,
yeah,
perhaps, so that you build confidence, because by the time you get to the end of that, right, now you've done this thing once. Okay,
yeah.
now I
Well,
can do
and
it
and
again.
then does that mean then you're faking it? So we say it's faking it till you make it, or that's the phrase, right? But isn't every single new thing you do a challenge? Isn't every single new thing you do, um like you don't know 100% that you can accomplish it until you do it, right?
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
faking it till you make it just a way of saying, yes, I'm going to start, regardless of if I feel like I can do it or not do it,
Yeah,
right?
it's saying yes. It's saying it's the commitment. I like to use that word because I think you're committing to something. I mean, as soon as you say to a potential client or somebody, "Yes, I'll do that for you," whew, then you got to step up to the plate, right? And that could mean uncomfortable things. It could mean, like, have to learn from others, pull in stuff. Um, and I think that's a lot of how we learn, or how I think is a good way to learn, is it should be done that way. Because you might say, well, just get a master, or get your proper education for that, and then you don't have to fake it till you make it. But education in an institution doesn't give you that
It's
experience
not
for the
the
confidence.
application, right? You're
No,
still in the
exactly.
exact same spot when you're looking at that job opportunity that might be a little outside of what you've done before, outside of your comfort zone. Or maybe it's going to be intimidating because there's a whole bunch of people who've been there longer than you and maybe know more than you do. So faking it till you make it is really more about saying yes to own skills and saying, you know what, I might be putting myself in a situation that's new to me or that I'm not sure about, but I have the training and I know that I can figure it out, and I'm willing to get some help if I find that it's a struggle, or to get some advice or whatever that looks like. So all of a sudden faking it till you make it kind of is framed in a very different way. Faking it till you make it is saying I'm confident enough in my own self to take a step in a direction that maybe is new to me. It's a new
Or
challenge.
or not confident. Like when you say, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then you go turn around, you go,
Yeah.
"Okay, oh, yikes,
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm not feeling confident right now, but I'm gonna just jump in and I'm gonna do what I
Right, but
need to
that's an
do."
emotional response. So that brings up the second part, is like, what's the emotional part and what's the logical part? The logical part is, I got trained for this. It's something within the spectrum of my likes, my interests, my talent, my training, right? So it's
Mhm.
in that spectrum. I know I'm not going to hate it if I did a good job of it. But my emotional brain is telling me, "Oh shit.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh," right?
yeah,
Like, what am I going to do? I can't do this. And that's where I feel like it's the confidence part. The confidence comes when you take action. It
yeah.
doesn't always come before that, right?
No,
Sometimes you've
no.
got a bit of confidence because you might feel like you could maybe handle it, but there's still a lot more confidence on the other side of making a decision and being an action taker,
Yeah,
right?
and there's the confidence comes with the first win, right? So I've done this
Yeah,
once. Okay, now next time somebody goes, "Well, can you do this for me?" or whatever it is, you're like, "Yeah," with a little more confidence. Yeah, and you still might kind of have that kind of nervy
yeah,
piece, but there's a measure of confidence there that keeps building until any within, again, within a realm of what you're describing is with in line with what you want to do or where you want to go, but and the changes you want to make, but then at some point you just people will come up to you, and with confidence you can say yeah, absolutely, or no, not at all. Like I feel confident to say no to this because it means that I have to do this, or but I think but that's about doing things and um accumulating experiences, right? But then there's also that faking it till you make it around sort of more in the like who we want to be, right? Like not so much what we want to do. And there's all kinds of science around that, which has been controversial, and I think controversial for the wrong reasons.
mhm,
But if you look at what Amy Cuddy was doing at Harvard Business School around the power posing, right? So they actually saw the physical effect. If I make myself big, I actually increase the amount of testosterone, the amount of testosterone
yeah,
and things that are going through my body that help me to feel confident. Because
yeah,
the confidence is connected to it's not just an abstract concept. It is connected to a neurochemical or physiological state that we have. And so she was experimenting with these ways. How do we make ourselves, when you've when you've moved your body and gotten your body big and feel big, right? Then does that put us in a state where we're more willing to take these risks, which is how
yeah.
she puts it. Yeah.
Well, and I would challenge people to actually try that. Feel how you feel when you're small and when you're like, you've got the negative part of that perceived experience going through your head, running like the broken record. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I can do this. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how I will handle it. It's out. So what if I completely fuck it up? Right now, what?
Mhm.
And then change it and start asking yourself, okay, but what if it did go well? What if I got help and I felt like I could handle it, and you open up your
And-
body and you do the
yeah.
power pose and you're like, hell yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah, even if you're not feeling it or thinking
Mhm.
it that way. But then really evaluate how that changes in your brain, right? Even me doing that stupid little exercise right there is like, hey, wait a
Look at
second,
it.
what
Hold
can I get done
on.
today? And they talk about, like, if you're at work and you need to go into the bathroom and do a power pose. If you're feeling stressed out, and lots of, great coaches and psychologists talk about changing your state, right?
Yeah,
Physically changing your state. So you
yeah,
can choose to pull everything in and be really small and have
yeah,
a broken record, or you
yeah.
can just in that very split second choose to open it up and
Mhm.
make your battle cry and just see how your physiology changes.
And it does. I mean, I've tried it. It works.
Yeah.
I've suggested it to clients and say, try this out. And it's worked. And I think the controversy over that was more in the world of, in the scientific sort of world of scientific peers. It hadn't been repeated X number of times enough to say, oh, this could be, anyway, whatever. Did it work? Is it working for people? That's what I'm hearing. So, and we know about that physiology. Like it's not, I mean, there's even the physiology, and I'll give you an example of smiling. So we
Yeah.
used to think that because you're happy somehow in your brain, you smile. And yet we know that if you continuously smile and hold those muscles in that place, it starts triggering a neurochemical release that releases
Yeah.
oxytocin and a good feel neurochemical. So and we, the Buddhist monks have been doing smiling meditation for thousands of years, or well, maybe not that long, but I practiced that once, and I just want to give an example, because this is, again, not about saying yes to something I'm a little uncomfortable with, but it was saying to myself, it was in a work situation with a really toxic director. She was toxic. She was a bully, and everyone was trembling. Like she would walk by and people would like
Mm.
avoid her. It was just awful. And at some point in my mind, I said, like, I don't want to be that trembling person, right? Who's in fear. I don't want to be living in fear around this person. And I got to be able to continue to do my work in this place for the time that I choose to still be here, which wasn't going to be long. But I just thought, I'm just going to move throughout this workspace, and whatever, smiling, and I'm just going to smile. And yeah, it was kind of fake in the beginning, but it was pretty
Like,
crazy. I realized, well, yeah, no, but it was just like
feels
I
like
just
that.
walked around, and like
Yeah.
whenever somebody would pass me or she would pass me, I'd have a smile. And you know what? I did that for a few days on end. And over those days, I just managed to stay away from all of that yuckiness. Like I managed to maintain a state of mind, because I easily get pulled into that,
Mhm.
right? Like I can't
Well,
sleep at
because
night.
we're
And
emotional beings, right? And
yeah.
empaths, and yeah, that makes sense.
So I was faking it really literally until somewhere in my brain I was just like, this is not, doesn't have to affect me. And I and it kind of influenced my decision making about leaving too. But or it sort of dovetailed into that. But I think, it doesn't, and this comes back to what we mentioned, I think, on a previous live. If you're just faking it, to make it for some egotistical end, and not because you really want true change, that's the what did we call it? The not confidence, but cockiness. Like that's the
Yeah, yeah,
inauthentic
yeah.
piece, right? Yeah. And
Well,
that's
and your experiment, the smile experiment, imagine if we did that at home, right?
hmm
Imagine if you did that. And we're in a pandemic where everybody's like face to face with their families much more than they're used to, much more than the family dynamic is used to. And you're seeing statistics about a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety coming out of people's homes and stuff. and
hmm
and it seems like a really innocuous kind of fix, just smiling more. But I wonder if people started experimenting with that at home with their spouse, with their kids, if that would maybe change the dynamic, change the mood, change the feeling a little bit into a more positive thing. And we won't go into this on this call, but I think it's a topic we should address. We're not talking about toxic positivity. We're
No,
not
not the
talking
fake
about that.
positivity. Like there's nothing wrong. Like don't worry, be happy. I do. Right.
Yeah,
I'm not
and I
playing.
do want to do a live on that because I have a lot of thoughts around that topic. I used to
Okay.
call trying to figure out, I did before I knew it was called toxic positivity. I would call it like the health and wellness Stepford kind of wives or Stepford people.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They're in this like
Pretending.
bubble where you couldn't have any feeling that wasn't super happy or
Yeah.
positive was something wrong with you, right? That you're doing something wrong. That's so dangerous. Lots we could say about that, which for time's
Yeah.
sake we won't go into here.
No, but
But
I would argue, because you suggest perhaps, experimenting with the smiley piece, that it's not done, because you're right, it's not meant to ignore or wash over some real issues that might be going on. But it's meant for yourself. So that
Yeah.
smiling, as much as it, might have an impact, or it might be infectious or whatever, it's actually the practicing of that. You should be doing that, not just, oh, there comes my husband, or there
Yeah,
comes my
yeah.
kid. But it's like
My sick puppy.
yeah, yeah. But it's for you. It's for you because it helps. The physiological effect is on you,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that
Yeah.
starts to impact how there's a feedback loop, right? A feedback
Yeah,
mechanism.
well, and so much we could say on this, and for time's sake, we probably have to wrap it up for today. But we do want to remind you guys, anybody watching this, put a comment in about how does faking it till you make it affect you? Do you have a situation in your life where you tried that, where you did it and was it a good result or a bad result in your mind at that time? What was the experience like for you? And also, is there something you'd like us to talk about? Is there something that we should be
Mhm.
addressing or you'd like to hear about? Just let us know. And always reach out to us if you guys need any support or objective ear. Barbara and I are both here to listen and happy to support wherever we can.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts from you, Barbara?
I'm just looking forward to seeing and reading your fake it till you make it stories. Just with that
Yeah,
new frame maybe in mind, that it's that there's it means a certain thing, and you can't, if you take it out of context, of course it can be silliness, right? So I'm really looking to reading about those and sharing. And in case
yeah.
this wasn't recorded live because the button wasn't
We're not
working
sure
well,
if it's live
it,
streaming or not.
it's coming in half an hour late, so sorry about that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. All right. Have a really great day, Barbara. Have a great day, you guys, and looking forward to reading your stories.
Yeah. Take care
Cool.
all.
See ya.
Bye.